All right, GXD Adventures just posted an update that should make everyone stop and stare, because it's not just server news, it's a rights and monetization problem. And before anyone says, you're guessing, no. I'm reading what they wrote, and I'm applying what the actual policies say. They're talking about moving content off public platforms, private channels, hard-to-find access, word of mouth, QR codes, all that. Fine, do whatever. But then they describe a conquest event prize, a custom physical figure, about a foot tall, based on a player's in-game character or a series character, commissioned through Etsy. And that's where the mask slips. Because that's not just gameplay. That's physical merchandise, built on a game's world and potentially on other people's assets. Let's get something straight. Funcom's Conan Exiles EULA explicitly says the game, including characters, objects, settings, storylines, concepts, music, sounds, artwork, animations, dialogue, code, and other in-game features, is the property of Funcom or its licensors. So if your character exists inside that system, built out of that system, visually defined by that system, no, you don't magically own the right to turn it into a product just because you role-played it harder than everyone else. And then there's the mod angle. The mods on these servers? They're commonly pulled from the Steam Workshop, publicly accessible content made by other creators. Here's what matters. Even Steam's own agreement treats Workshop uploads as user-generated content with licenses and restrictions around distribution and use. Meaning the mod authors are the creators, and platforms grant rights for operation and distribution under those terms. So when a server uses mods and then starts dangling physical merch based on characters, you're stacking rights on rights on rights. And unless you have permission, you don't own any of that. Now watch this. Funcom's public legal FAQ says they welcome non-commercial fan uses, but it also says additional written permission is required for any commercial use of their IP, art, music, audio, or other IP. That means if you're turning game-derived visuals into something that's bought, sold, used as a paid incentive, or part of a monetized ecosystem, this is not "we're just fans." That's commercial territory. And if you don't have written permission, you're not bold. You're unauthorized. Funcom also has a published private server guideline. Donations are only okay when they're genuinely for upkeep, not personal profit, not unfair advantages, and they explicitly say soliciting money for personal economic gain through the game is prohibited and violates the EULA. And the Conan Exiles EULA's mod section is blunt. Mods may not be distributed with fees, and they may not support any purchase of content, whether tangible or intangible. So no, this isn't some mystery gray area where anything goes. The published rules are screaming the opposite. And since this is about permissions, I didn't just rant. I contacted Funcom PR and customer support to clarify how they view a server community commissioning or distributing physical character merchandise derived from in-game and modded content. I'm waiting on their response. Because if GXD Adventures genuinely has permission, cool, show it. If they don't, then this is exactly what it looks like. People acting like they can sell or reward physical products off someone else's IP and someone else's mods. Here's the part that really matters. What do they actually own here? They might own their script writing. They might own their voiceovers. They might own original dialogue they wrote. But the in-game visuals, the world, the characters as game objects, the assets, and any modded pieces, that's not theirs. The EULA literally says the game's in-game features and characters are Funcom's property or their licensors. So here's the bottom line. If you're commissioning physical figures based on game-derived characters and modded visuals, and you can't produce written permission, then you're not running events. You're trying to monetize and merchandise a product you do not own using assets you did not create. And I'm going to keep saying it until they answer, show the permission, or stop.